Everyone at the like green.
Okay.
Circle.
We're good. Okay,
Yes.
sorry about that. Thank you.
Okay, so in like half a second, we're gonna see the
This looks a lot better.
spawn of a tornado. That's gonna be happening pretty frequently. As you the swirly there. The best way to do that, I think, is gonna be stack just like blockade. Just to bait them to one position and then move away, because they do knock you back and do damage is pretty annoying. And then you would just move. I don't exactly know how the ads like spawn in, if it's RNG or not. That's something we'll probably want to test. But
not untested. It was opposite from the group. So
See, those tornadoes.
If we split into two,
they don't work like they worked on Wrath of Azshara and Legion. Right, these tornadoes come out and they make circles in a pattern, right? Like King's Rest boss, right?
Then
the third boss in King's Rest.
A little bit towards the ad location every single time.
Wrath of Azshara and Legion, just like tornadoes, just kind of went where they were going to go.
Which
I think that's a little better.
Energy based.
Yeah. I'll let it play for a second.
And if you look here, if you watch him go, like I know Wrath of Azshara felt like I would be tracked, but look, like this thing is going out in like concentric circles, right? Or in a spiral.
Alright, pull something up real fast.
Like there's two here, like I'm pointing, like you can see my finger. I think like these look like they may be falling because they're coming from different directions. Maybe.
So, as far as like healer cooldowns and stuff, I really don't know because I'm a DPS. Oh, here.
There's like large AoE damage that comes out every 18 seconds or so, I think.
Yeah, but 18 seconds is a little, or like frequent for healing cooldowns and stuff. But as far as the intermission goes, so this, as you can see, they just phased. And then you cannot see because of this, I forget what that's called.
Eye of the Storm.
The Eye of the Storm. Yeah, Eye of the Storm. So basically, it's like a giant hurricane, and you have to get to the center so that you can see, and that's where all of the ads that we see here are. The Storm Wraith with the thing at the very top, it's the giant ad, and it's going to cast Focus Power, and that really needs to be interrupted rather quickly. So I'm thinking like a mage or a mobile range that could get over there fast and kick it while melee are still running, etc. Would be a good idea. And then the Stormlings do cast other things, like maybe if it's necessary on Mythic to have a kick rotation on those. But since it's an early boss, I don't know if that'll be necessary, if it'll just throw it out whenever.
So, sorry to interrupt you. We can't have a mage actually do that kick. It needs to be. It's going to basically be the tank, because as soon as you kick him, the ad's going to go active. And if anybody other than the tank is right there, it's just going to nuke you to death. So if a mage, so if a mage or a melee or something like gets over there super fast and kicks it, they're dead.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so it's hard to see. So, okay, right here. There are these 5 rune-looking things that's just to the left of that tornado. I guess there's more than 5. Those will spawn just before the intermission, and every time you run through them, it's going to trigger a tornado, as well as deal damage, small amount of damage to you. I think the best way to get through that would just be to either run along the center, like that dark ring around the boss, and trigger that one. Everyone tunnels through to get to the ads. And the first person leading that charge would be like a rogue with cloak, or I know DKMS worked, bubble worked, something like that, just to like prevent damage going on you and then getting to the ads quickly.
I think the Fat Boss video said that they could always just go
I believe Hunter
between
tried to
them
work
too,
on
right?
Yeah,
P2.
yeah, it does. But you do not
But that may be
want
like
to
a normal thing or just a testing thing.
clear all of them, as that's going to spawn a ton of tornadoes and make potentially getting knocked back or like throwing an extra damage on the raid problematic. I don't remember if they show Arcane Bomb.
Yeah, they did eventually.
If anyone has a
It's
time
right there on the far left person. Right.
Okay, yeah. I believe it's on the priest. I think that's a priest out there in the darkness.
It's right above the raid frames.
You can see the visual on the right too with the 3 arcane balls.
Yeah.
So there's the Arcane Bomb
so
on the
that
ground.
Is,
Here it is on this priest, I
I
guess.
think the best way to do that would just be to bait it out, and then when it's out on you, you get dispelled, and then run back in to the group. I don't know of a similar mechanic like that, but it should be pretty easy. Either calling for a
Very
dispel.
much like Anomaly, was it? Where you had to run
It's
them
like
out?
Rather
the
Azshara.
Dun and Legion.
Yeah, this
I have
was.
Azshara.
I have Azshara the
Oh
last
yeah. Okay. Actually, that is a lot like this boss in general. So, but yeah, that's just how you would handle that. I think if everyone is going to be stacked along, like during the actual boss phase, if everyone's going to be stacked on melee, just to reduce movement and clutter, then we could just like have everyone run to the outer ring farthest away from the boss, like outer edge of the donut, and then place them there, and then run back in as like a easy always go there with the arcane bombs thing. Other than that, I guess Storm Buffet. I don't know how to deal with this exactly. Whenever like I did the first round of testing, and it was pretty much the thing that was wiping everyone because they just get launched in different directions. If anyone has any input on how
Yeah,
to handle
so we can control where the adds bait, right? And so the room has a back wall on the entrance. And so if we can get the storm race to spawn on that side, we'll have a backstop for
Yeah.
everybody to get knocked into.
So on the strat spreadsheet, there's the picture of the location that you would want to be to force the ads to spawn at the entrance. And then I believe the stairwell where you come in, you can get knocked into the stairwells or just the back wall.
You could also position the ad at the edge of the zone, and then everyone gets knocked back to the edge of the zone. You won't get knocked out of it.
Okay, so either of those would work. Also, the little ads in intermission were stunnable, at least in early testing. I'm assuming that didn't change, so we could just have like, I don't know what the longest AoE stun is, but just like a rotation, just to reduce damage on the
AoE.
raid.
Shockwave?
Is there anything I missed?
Yeah, I would also say AoE silences would work
Sweep
there
as well, right?
The
On the
one thing I
Shockwave
wanted to note
four,
is
sweeps three.
in terms of positioning, I think the 2 groups is good. It does get hectic in this fight though, so something you have to kind of consider when you're moving around and dodging tornadoes is with the arcane bombs, it seemed like for every group you had in the raid, you'd get one. So we had like 20 people in the raid, or I think in testing we had like 15 people in the raid, we got 3, but when we added a 16th person, we got 4, so we should expect 6 every time those go out. And you need to make sure you're in range of the healers so they can dispel you. I think Warlock Imp works for that. Anyone that can dispel magic should be able to do that, but you'll just have to, when those are going out, make sure you're kind of bait back towards the center so you can get dispelled and drop those in a good spot.
You tested it, Kramer. Did all of the bombs go out at the same time?
Yes.
So would it be something, and they don't deal damage when dispelled or anything? They're just left on the ground?
So you
So
can kind
you
of see like the countdown
Yeah,
right there, those
so-
runes.
So would everyone be able to go to the same spot to drop their bomb off and say have a Shadow Priest mass dispel?
I mean, theoretically, yes, but with the
assume
tornadoes, it kind of makes it a little
Yeah.
hectic.
You just want to move out. Like it's basically the exact same thing as the whatever Legion dungeon, where you just like move out, get dispelled, and then move away from it, so that it doesn't do damage on.
It's literally that last boss in Azshara with an ad phase and a darkness phase.
Yeah, I don't think the fight's that hard, to be honest.
So when you run out to get would you just like wait a couple seconds and then just start dispelling people?
No, you can
Or-
dispel them right away once they're out.
No.
As long as they're out of the
Yeah,
stack group.
yeah,
and-
once they're out.
Yeah,
Don't
But
don't dispel instantly.
The question
Yeah,
is
yeah.
for the healers, like, how do they know? There's 6 people with the debuff. Like, do they have to look at each
You can
person?
watch,
like, how
right?
do they know?
The
Which
visual's
person's
so large that you should know,
You
and
should
people
just-
should be moving
you
fast
should- you
enough
should be
that they're
tracking
all
the
getting
de-
it.
You should be tracking the debuff.
Should be on your raid frames, right? Like
He just means, he doesn't
Yeah.
mean like you won't see it. He means if there's 6 that go out, how are you going to know that everyone is physically safe to be dispelled versus if they have the debuff to
And I
be dispelled?
imagine 6 people saying dispel is gonna be like annoying.
Right.
We had we had a weak order for Immunar, right, with those sleeps that would
Correct.
put the safe people. So we can just do something.
I'm just not sure how we would implement that because it'd have to be range based, and then
Well, you tie. Well, yeah, it's range based. What do you mean?
I mean, how would we range it based on position, right? Like,
As
are we
long
gonna
as they're
put 6
5
yards and then 6 yards from who?
From
As
anyone.
long as they don't have any other players within 6 yards of them or something, like it's technically a safe dispel. You could play around
Sure.
it, and then
Look at the radius
if you
and tweak
dispel
it.
it, yeah. And then if they messed it up, that's something you just tell them after pull, like, hey, you had that debuff. Go to the other spot next time.
Well, it doesn't actually do damage on the dispel, does it? It just drops the.
Yeah,
dispel
that's
on
why
the-
you could outplay it as long as you dispel, like.
Yeah,
You
maybe
So I had
outplay it.
I had a suggestion for this. Is rather than doing like a range check or something like that, because you could be dropping it in the middle where we're all about to move, but you're out of range of players. I would strongly suggest instead of doing that, doing it on a duration type thing, because you do have a fixed duration before it goes off. You could always give the person a certain amount of time to basically get out to the edge of the room to drop it, and you always dispel at that, and that gives them a small leeway as well once it's dispelled to start running back.
Yeah.
So you could just set it up like if it's a 5-second debuff,
I like Goob
you give them 3
chipping
seconds to
in
run
on
out,
the strategy
and they
stuff.
have 2 seconds to move out of the graphic.
I think this
said
is the
that
first time
one
he's
person
seen
per
a
group
full-on
got it, or
DJ strategy
it was
session.
just
We didn't
based
quite
on
have something
how many
as
groups
formal
you got?
or visible.
The second one, the latter.
I'm just thinking about like which healer is gonna take like which person. How do you know?
Yeah, it's random. Like, who gets it?
Put assigned groups, kind of like the we did for mages or dispels on that could work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like 5 people in the same group could get it.
Yeah.
Right.
It would be,
which we have a priority
it's a
system.
it's a priority system. So you assign. So let's say we have 4 groups, just to make my math easy. You have one person start at the beginning of group 1, one person start at the end of group 2. They go. Group 1 goes all the way down his group, then all the way down group 2. Group 2 goes in reverse. He goes from right to left on group 2, then right to left on group 1. That covers if you have a double in that area. And you do the same thing for 3 and 4. Now, you should be able to verify that if there's nothing in 4, there's another one somewhere in 1, 2, and 3, and that person can go to the backup. So if you want to do it this way, you always start at the left of your group. So 1 starts left, 2 starts left, 3 starts left, 4 starts left, and then if you don't have one, you start at the right of a different group. That way, you're not both spotting the same target. I'd also say healers would get a weak core that pings upon a successful dispel, so you don't hit it. You think you dispel, and then, oh fuck, I'm the one that didn't dispel.
You guys also need to all align on how you want your raid frames to be when you're doing that kind of a priority.
Yeah.
I mean, worst case, if you dispel early, it's very easy to move out of.
Couldn't you also just have 2 groups and then say everybody goes this way for the groups and then it makes it easier, kind of like a melee and range group? Make it easier so we're not throwing tornadoes into melee and throwing tornadoes into range, etc. like everybody just moves in unison.
Go over that one more time.
So you have a melee group and a range group, right?
Mhm.
And they're stacked.
Yeah.
And then, because as far as I understand it, tornadoes spawn on the players. So the tornadoes
Mhm.
spawn on you, you move over. And then, if you're the melee group and you're on one side of the circle and the range group's on the other side of the circle, then the melee group, their bombs are just going to go to ranged, which is away, and the range group, their tornadoes are just going to go to melee. So it's very obvious where they are, because it's either in front of you or it's behind you. Like, you can't ever mess that up. Rather than going right to left, because you're always going to move to either left or right of the tornadoes, it's just going to be behind you or in front of you, depending on what group you are. And then the healers don't have to start guessing because they're spread between the two groups. They can just see, okay, there's nobody in our group. They're behind us or in front.
I think I get it. So you're saying there is a collection point. They all go to one spot. Once they're all there, everyone gets dispelled and they run back.
Correct.
Okay, that would work. It also make it easy, especially if, say, a healer's down and we can't get that fourth person. Then we just have a priest mass dispel.
I
And
was
should
going to
get all
master
four.
spell it. That was the question I was about to ask.
You can.
Yeah. So
I could get a lot
that
of
also
if
covers
everybody
the.
doesn't spell perfectly at the same time, though.
I mean, the debuff lasts what, 6 seconds?
Correct.
It's a lot to be coordinated in 6 seconds.
I mean, that sounds a lot
mean,
easier than having to deal with weak auras and
Yeah.
like,
Think
having to do all
broadsides,
the-
right? Similar.
Exactly.
Everyone move left, mass the spell.
Yeah.
Do we
Or
know
everyone move
if
left. Once you see the
revival works on it?
we didn't have a month when we tested. I don't know.
That might be something else to test because if we
I
need
doubt it would
Like,
work.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
We wouldn't
Revive.
waste a revival cooldown just to undispel. Unless there is a damage and dispel that overlaps, then we would, but
There's not a lot of damage in that phase. It's
Yeah,
mainly moving to the storm lanes, and the storm lanes is where the damage happens.
I feel like with how much damage is gonna be everywhere else in the fight, you would want to put revive.
yeah, we would not waste a revival on a simple dispel type. No.
I don't want another chain of revival dispel, please.
So that one probably is not an option. Mass dispel or just regular dispels once you see all the big scrappics in one spot. It's probably our best bet.
Oh, do any warlocks know for the runes on the ground that happen in intermission? If you could deathgate that, or I'm assuming it still triggers a tornado upon passing.
We tested it did trigger tornado.
Okay, yeah.
And you can't go through the middle, it like bounces you out.
Hmm.
But teleports work.
Can you teleport across the circle?
The circle's
A
way
personal
too big.
portal works, but you can't use a gateway across the middle.
Right. What I'm saying is do you have enough range to do it?
I don't think so. You can only go kind of like a quarter around, just too big of a room.
Yeah, you can't life grip them. It's too big.
I was gonna say, because if you have both groups, if it goes ahead and is based off of whatever group has the most players on it, then you can kind of game that by having all the locks port to the one side, and then whatever side like the tank's on, for example, if that's a melee group, then the ads should theoretically spawn on that side. They go to the range group, they can stay in melee and then go to the range group to game the spawn on the melee side, so the tanks get it, and then range just have to like make their way over there.
I'm not sure it wouldn't be better to. Well, my original idea was to have one rogue go left, rogue go right, to clear the inner ring when the bombs come out, because those traps and bombs, they happen before the darkness phase for the Eye of the Storm. And we can clear that really quickly. And then if we're going to be using two groups anyway, it'd probably be better to get your groups all stacked up as a group and drop some sort of speed increase and run to where your ad's supposed to be. and get there
Stampeding
as a
roar.
group. And then as the group funnels in, the tank can interrupt and pick up the ads and move them all to one side. Because if you get there early, you're going to be taking damage, but you might be out of range of the healers.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the ads are going to spawn. As soon as we see it on a heroic kill with a larger group size, it'll be pertinent information, and we'll be able to make some adjustments based off that. I think I don't want to spend too much time on this boss because, to be honest, it's stack dodge tornadoes, move left, mass dispel, or assign dispels, decide our best communication or way, which will be someone leading the charge to the middle of the ad spawn, tank getting in there to kick, interrupts on the small ads, rinse and repeat 3 times, boss dies.
Another burn boss, baby. Next. Let's go.
Yep, so let's get moving with the third boss, which is Blackwater, the shittiest boss in the world, Behemoth. And who is going to be leading us through this one?
All right,
Do we have a video link
Polini.
already that we can bring?
Polini
It's
from
almost like
FA.
prepared.
We had a meeting.
From FA. Let's go, man. Represent
Sorry
FA
for
well.
everyone that had to attend.
Where was the video link?
It's probably
I put
mentioned.
it in that. I put it in that servers. Sorry, Scan. I'll try less next time.
No, it's great, honestly. I know that we've kind of been back and forth with Prague and